What is up, everybody? My name is Jackson, and I run the new and improved channel Next Wave Gaming, or Next Wave on YouTube. Originally, I started streaming on Twitch, and I was doing things like playing Fortnite and playing Call of Duty, trying to be this, fragger that quickly found out I wasn't. I'm quite literally trash. But what I am good at is talking to people, and I love comic books, and I love that nerd culture, and I love going to the movies opening night and watching these things and relishing in it. And I feel like I've got a great opinion on these things. Yeah, that's just me. Um, but so from going forward with this channel, I'm going to be doing series reviews. I'm going to be doing reactions to trailers, playing games, playing through those games and reacting to those games, reviewing those games. Just kind of centered around that. I love the content that these things provide. I grew up on it as my childhood. It's a lot of people's childhood, and it's just something fun. It's a passion that I have, and I hope you guys enjoy it with me. Because I don't do it for myself. I don't like talking to myself about these things. I want to give that to other people. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to get right into Black Widow. Here we go. Bam. Okay. So, off the rip, spoiler alert, we will be talking about this movie in its entirety. We'll be talking about the post-credit scene in its entirety. And if you don't want to hear anything about that, you haven't seen the movie, by all means, come back to this video once you've watched that movie. If you don't care, stick around. We're going to get into it. But that was your warning, because I will be talking about the ending. Everybody dies. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, if you don't want to get spoiled, get out of here. All right. So, with that being said, I like to set these things up, with the bad news first. You get the bad stuff out of the way, just because you know, that's the bad stuff, and you can segue into the good stuff because there were a lot of good things. Marvel does a great job at these movies, at making these movies, casting these characters, and these storylines. There's a lot of good in it, but we got to get the bad because there is bad. Um, so let's get into it. Number one, off the bat, once you get in through that first 10-minute origin, you can predict the rest of this movie. You don't have to. You're not on the edge of your seat. You know what I mean? You're not like, oh my god, what are they gonna do? It's a bank heist movie. You have these set of characters that you meet in the beginning of the movie. Time passes, bam, 21 years off the rip. You go from Natasha's childhood to post Civil War, like immediately picking up after Civil War. She's getting chased by the U.S. government. And the whole idea is, let's get the band back together, get the Red Guard, get my sister, get my old fake mom, and we're going to go take down the big bad guy and walk off into the sunset. And they literally do that. They walk off into the sunset, except for Black Widow because she dies horrifically. But they do it. They walk off. Nobody dies. Everybody survives. And, it's just this whole, oh, well, I've seen this movie in 12 other movies. Um, so that was a yeah. Number two. This movie, I feel like I did not gain any real substance by watching this. I know that sounds bad, but it was 100% a cash grab for Scarlett Johansson. She had to finish out her contract. Disney had one more movie to give her. The timing was awful. They could have done this, immediately after Infinity War when they were doing Ant-Man and the Wasp. But they did not. And they decided, hey, you know what? Let's kill her first. That way people are like, oh, okay, well, she's out. Oh, I don't care about her anymore. And then let's just bring her back and act like, this was meant to happen. We wanted to do this. So, it felt forced. Scarlet Witch. I'm sorry. Black Widow. Black Widow has never been a big character in the Marvel series. And I wasn't really attached to her to begin with. That's just me. Maybe you loved her, but I did not have those same feelings. She was a very much a supporting role in my eyes to these other characters like Scarlet Witch and obviously Captain America, Iron Man, all the big ones. Um, And so, it just felt kind of forced. And that was number two. Number three, and this one got me. Okay. I'm a fan of the villain. In all these movies, I love to see what they do with the villain, how they create this villain and how true they stay to the comics. And that is a big one for me. Marvel's done a great job over the past 11, 12 years of sticking as close to the comics as possible. The very beginning, it was rough. They were one-off and villains, left and right, but they got around that, they got through it, and they were doing their thing, building this lore and sticking as close to the comic books as they could. Taskmaster is the lamest villain, side villain, because the real villain was the puppet master pulling the strings behind the red door, but the red room. But they gave her the Bane treatment. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you get on your computer, you get on your phone right now, and you Google the 1990s Batman with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Bane was a mindless zombie in that movie. And in the comic books, Bane's this huge mastermind that defeats Batman, breaks his back. He's this super strong, super smart guy. And that's kind of what Taskmaster is in the Marvel comics. He's not some zombie that has a computer chip in the back of his head that's just sitting there analyzing all the data on the Avengers and then, gets released in the Taskmaster protocol and, sent out to do bidding. No. Taskmaster had a vengeance. He was super smart. He learned all the Avengers moves. He learned how to fight like them, fight against them. He was his own guy. He had his own plans. He did his own thing. And they just did no credit to that villain in any way, shape, or form. You know, I understand they needed to bring him in and like kind of have him be dealt with in that movie because he's not present anywhere in any of the other Avengers movies. But man, you missed the ball on that one. Okay. Wow, Disney. Okay. Coming from me, a professional who is wearing your merch, but still. Um, and that was my three negatives. I'm not big on the negatives. Um, but you have to hit them. You have to hit them. So with that, let's get into the positives. Positives. This is why you came. You came for the feel good message, right? Right? Don't lie to me. Um, Positives. This movie did a great job at a lot of things, and I'd make sure I want to cover those because I can't just be a negative Nancy to the Marvel universe. Number one, the characters are very relatable. Disney and Marvel does a great job at writing scripts and in keeping that interest in what people are saying and not just the action that's going on or the big space scenes and things like that. Um, and they did a good job at that little family unit they tried to create in this movie. The mom dad dynamic between David Arbor um, and Melina, and the sister aspect from Natasha and Yelena Belova, and um, it was very very funny at times, which kind of leads me segue into my second point. David Arbor made that movie. If David Arbor was not in that movie playing Redguard, this movie would have flopped very hard because he was the funniest character, and my position, he was the most relatable character, and he was this great cheesy dad version of Captain America, with that communist Russia personality, um, and he was great. Loved it. Really helped the movie all the way through to the end, which leads me to the end, the post-credit scene with Yelena visiting Natasha's grave post Endgame. Uh, you know, Sitting there, kind of paying her respects, and in comes the mysterious handler from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That is right. The woman from Falcon and the Winter Soldier that made the government agent comes sneaking her way in there and is edging in. Obviously, Yelena already works for this woman or the organization this woman represents, and she is on what she referenced was her day off. Um, and in this scene, she gives her a little, hey, you want to avenge your sister's death? Here's a picture of Hawkeye. He did it, not Natasha sacrificing herself, but he did it because he's against my agenda and I need him gone and you can do it. And that's what they're setting up because there is a Hawkeye series coming to Disney Plus. So that kind of creates that good kind of anti-hero dynamic that Yelena is going to play, being misled by these mysterious handlers, her and the US agent just kind of, you know, doing their bidding, thinking they're doing good when in all reality they're hurting everything in the process. It's a good setup. It was a good setup. There wasn't much they could do. It's not like they could have just thrown in this little, oh, hey, here's a look at Doctor Strange, or here's a look at Spider-Man for no reason because it has nothing to do with the current movie that you just watched, which is great. I'm glad that they kept on brand and stuck with the characters and kind of did the classic Marvel thing. But it is a good setup, and I'm really excited for that. Can't wait to see where they take it from there. Overall, this movie is a good transition back into movies. We had a year of nothing, which was awful. We had to settle for, just little tidbits and crumbs of Disney Plus series all the way up until this. It is At least it's a movie. At least we're back in theaters watching these things, being able to enjoy it, watch these post credit scenes, so I can make these reviews. And it's great. I'm excited for where it's going. No matter what score or what I say bad about this movie, we're back in it, baby. We're getting it. Can't wait for the next one. It's also a good filler for Black Widow. More context. You can watch this in succession with, you can now add this into your chronological order watch through. So now you can go, Civil War, Black Widow, Infinity War. You can do that. You can add that in there. It gives more context, especially for somebody that's never watched it before. If you're trying to get somebody into it, it really helps build that character development for Black Widow that we actually care when she dies in Endgame. And it really helps that. It really gives her that substance. It's a fun story. It's a fun heist story that is easy to follow, but it does fail to really grasp the Marvel essence and the hype that surrounded this movie being the first movie back. I really thought it was going to be a little bit better. Really thought I was going to feel a little more affected by this movie or made a little more excited for the movies to come. But I just didn't get it. It's a good Marvel movie. It's a movie that I feel like I could rewatch if I had to, but I don't really want to type movie. Um, so overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, it's just my opinion. 6 out of 10. It was good, but not that good. And that's my Scarlet Witch review. Thank you so much. If you stayed for the full length of this video, I'm going to be making more videos like this. Like I said before, I'm really going to be getting into it. But in the meantime, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, tell me what your favorite or least favorite part of that movie was, what you're most excited for coming up. And while you're here, drop by my Twitch, drop me a follow. That way you can be notified when I go live and you can watch me play some of these favorite games that you have, like Fortnite and, well, not Call of Duty. I hate Call of Duty, but I will be streaming these games until a game worthy enough of comic book glory comes back. Probably Guardians of the Galaxy, but we'll see. Until then, you guys have a good week, a good month, a good year. I'll see you on the next go round. Peace.